All yours, Scott.
All right, guys. Hey, Scott Roussel, Football Scoop. Thank you so much for joining us again. We just started these clinics yesterday, and the response has been fantastic. We had over 5,000 people join us the first day, and excited to get day 2 going here. Very much want to thank Doug Samuels, our national content manager, who's been orchestrating all of this. Doug's a high school football coach up in the great state of Michigan, and he's in it, fellas. He's living it too. So, when you get a chance offline, give him thanks. All right, Doug, I'm handing it over to you. Let's go.
That sounds great. Hey, just a few reminders before we get started. Everyone should come in muted up, but if you guys can make sure your microphones are muted throughout Coach's presentation, that'd be great. But I'm going to give the floor to Coach Ryan Landrum, assistant at Midlothian High School. He's going to talk about mentoring the next generation of coaches. So, floor is yours, Coach, to share your screen, and let's roll.
I'm going to get this going here. Share. All right, everybody got it on the screen? Just want to make sure that we're good to go. We good to go, guys?
Yep.
All right, awesome. All right, so kind of just going forward here, because he introduced me. My name is Ryan Landrum. I'm an assistant at Midlothian High School. If it looks like I'm young, it's because I am. I am less than 30 years old. I turned 30 this year. And you're probably thinking, well, I have underwear older than this guy, which for some of you, probably right. But at the same point in time, one thing that I've kind of gotten big into the last year as I've gone older and older is that what I have looked into myself as a coach, what helped me grow the most was my mentors that came with that helped me along. And I want to be able to do that for these next generations. But the kind of deal is through my mentors, some were mostly baby boomers, some Gen X. Now you're having to deal with millennials getting older. And eventually here in about 2-3 years, you have Gen Z coming in, and it's going to be a completely whole new ballgame. So that's what I want to do as far as my professional career. Today, what I'm going to talk about is something that I believe is close to me, is that's going beyond and how to assist your program in doing things that can help grow it. This can apply to both young coaches like myself and younger that want to be able to work up the ladder and do different things depending on your athletic program, and can also apply to some older guys who are trying to find their way into leadership positions. And some ideas here could help yourselves out to a little bit here. So I'll just go ahead and go to the next slide. Like I said, that's my mission. I like teaching new dogs old tricks. I like teaching all the young guys, hey, here's how you should do things. Here's what you should do, stuff like that. But I also love teaching old dogs new tricks. I'm on here on Google Slides, and I've had to teach God knows how many older gentlemen that have never used computers to use these presentations and stuff. They've all been working on PowerPoint or some even before that. So is that, and like I said earlier, my future of the game is millennials and Gen Z. And it's scary when you start looking at the news, you're seeing all the guys right now on spring break at the beaches, not heeding the warning, stuff like that. I believe it's our job as older coaches to help mentor these guys and put them on the right path. So hopefully these examples today, we'll talk about going beyond in certain key areas, will allow us to do that. Before we even do that, let's talk about going beyond. When I first moved to Midlothian, they have a saying that every school here has a saying in Midlothian. Midlothian High School was always go to and go Panthers. I kept thinking to myself, what does that mean? Well, here about a couple months into my job, they say, hey, man, it refers to a story in the Bible, particularly Matthew chapter 5, verse 41. That's Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And he talks about how it was the law for Jews, if a Roman warrior was asked this Jew to carry their equipment, they had to carry 1 mile. Well, Jesus said, well, don't just go 1 mile, go 2. So that's where we get we try to teach our kids and our staff to go beyond just the minimum amount that they want. Coaching is about kids, not an ego trip. A lot of people want to get into coaching because they think they know football or think they know they can go win a lot of games. And ultimately, it's not about that. You probably heard a lot of that yesterday, particularly from Coach Kelly for Cedar Hill. You got to invest in the kids, and going beyond what you're minimally supposed to do will help you get to that. Ultimately, also, and a lot of you older coaches probably know this, athletics is a business, in quotation marks, athletics is a business. It is about how much you can spread your sphere of influence, how much you can take your positive traits and spread them to not only your athletes, but the school, the town, the community, stuff like that. somehow my slides got off here, but in order to help the kids, your program must grow. And in order for the program to grow, or everyone must know it. Kind of a little typo here, so my apologies. I'll fix that before we get going. In order for you to be able to get these kids to buy in and be able to get the whole community to buy in, you have to show them in certain ways. And that's where you start seeing a lot of people getting into it a little bit last couple of years. A lot of social media stuff has grown, and I'm kind of evolving with it as well. So to be able to do that, I'll give you some examples to be able to make sure that you can kind of get a little bit more in that case. 3 levels I'm going to talk about today. We're going to go beyond in just your athletic program. We're going to go beyond in the schoolhouse and beyond in the community. I'll focus mainly on the first one because it's something that each individual can do, but we'll expand through the schoolhouse and the community as well. Most personal for beyond the athletic, what is your hustle? What can you do? What is your skill set? I'm a part of what Coach Randy Jackson, one of my mentors, says the IY generation, meaning born between 1990 and 2000. Old enough to remember what it's like going outside, but also old enough to remember what the computer looked like. I remember back when I was an itty-bitty kid how it was exciting to get a CD-ROM drive. And that's kind of showing my age now, especially when CD-ROMs are a complete thing in the past. I remember putting stuff on floppy disk at one point. So I know all that, but I've also grown with every single step of technology. So I use that to my advantage. So if you have a certain hustle, if you know you're big on weight room stuff, use that. Get into that kind of certifications, be able to do that to help your athletic program. Second point, can't stress this enough. If there is a need, go fix it. One of my personal deals that I did at Midlothian is that we had a wall of college Panthers out there, or Panthers that went to go on and play college football. The wall was okay, had framed pictures. They're all different sizes. All the details are different. So didn't ask my head coach to do this. I went up and I started emailing people and say, hey, do you know this guy? I need to have his information. What all did he do in high school? So I got all the stuff, got new pictures, kind of probably did bad things, spent my own money, got some own frames. But the coach appreciated me doing this. And when he started showing that I did this project on my own without having to be asked to do it, he saw that there's potential here. And he allowed me to grow and do more and more projects that we'll talk about down the line. Character matters. Again, this says there are a lot of coaches say this, but you got to live it. We are big in character Midlothian. We buy into everything we need to have, and we have good kids. We are a medium to high socioeconomic demographic, but we need these kids to have good character because sometimes those kids are the ones who need the most character. So we invest in character workshops. We invest in 2words.tv. Most of the football program state of Texas has involved that in. So if you want to go look that up later, that would be a great service to have. Stuff like that. You build in the character of these kids, you shape the world, you'll shape your athletic department as well as beyond. Again, can't stress this enough. Volunteer and work extra events. Probably one of the things I've grown in my whole athletic department is being able to just work small little things. I started out working clock for basketball because I didn't have a winter sport. So I started from there. I got to know basketball coaches. They introduced me to more coaches. And then I got to my second sport, and that brings me to the second point in this line. If you coach a second sport, own it. I have been a track coach, a swim coach, and here's a little secret. I can only doggy paddle. Softball coach, and now JV2 girls soccer coach. I have been all around the block. If you own that second sport and you're able to go learn how to do and master a couple of different skills, you will learn and grow it yourself. And you'll connect with everybody in your athletic department. In fact, it got so good. I connected with so many coaches that we got a brand new AD in April of last year. And I was one of the first guys he met because these guys have said, hey, he's the guy who gets stuff done around here. He's the guy who you can go that knows everybody, that he can tell you about everything you need to know. So the moment I started, I was already meeting with our brand new athletic director. For an assistant, that's kind of a big deal. And then finally, know your personnel, know your athletic department, know your coaches around you, know the coaches you work with, know your kids. If you don't invest in them, you can do one thing that you think is great, but the same aspect will do something that will completely change the opinion of yourself from somebody else. Luckily, I have been unaware of doing this, but I know that there's been some Twitter posts out there that a couple coaches have put out that rubbed other coaches the wrong way. Not thinking they were malicious or trying to have intent, but just the way it came off, it rubbed some people the wrong way. So know your personnel, know how to deal with your coaches, your kids, your admin, etc. This slide kind of pictures a couple friends of mine. This is about knowing your hustle. I'm really good at technology. These guys blow me out of the water. I mean, they create Twitter banners, shiny helmets, committed signs, schedules, kind of a non-sponsored, sponsored content here. Their Twitter handles are up there. Please feel free to contact them if you want any advice on this, or honestly, they may just make you a couple things for a few dollars on the side. But I just want to show you that this is making a hustle for yourself, separating yourself from others because of what you know how to do for your skill set. Going beyond in your coaching. I got a couple of videos here. I'm a big example guy, so I'm sorry if I blow out your ears for speakers. I should have muted most of these, so I just want to hear. So the first video I'm going to play real quick right here.
Whoa, jab cross.
Yeah.
Jab cross. Jab cross.
A couple years ago, we actually input some combative training into our off-season program, not necessarily because we want these kids to know how to fight, but we want them to know how to be tough and be able to know how you feel when you're absolutely exhausted. Luckily, we have a coach who is big in jiu-jitsu and a little bit MMA fighting, so he was able to get some hand stuff here, and we were able to kind of get them worn out by having them do these combatives, having them do wrestling-type drills to where they not only grew in their toughness, but they grew in the ability to work when they're tired and fatigued and things like that. And it showed that this coach can go beyond minimum because he had an expertise. He had a skill set of what he could do. We're also a huge mat drill team. I mean, my head coach loves some mat drill. So let me see if I can get back. Sorry if I blow your ears out. My apologies. I'll turn my speaker off just to make sure you don't hear it through me. But our coaches, they got called the mat, and they said, let's go. So all these guys, they got to the mat, they started doing their drills, flying around, 4-point drill, and see how the kids are loving it, going beyond the minimum just to show something for the kids. And that's going to grow your program and you as a coach to where you'll be able to do more and see more. And your head coach is going to see that, and the world's going to see that. We'll talk more about that in a minute. This is the point where I'm going to make fun of myself a little bit. Last year, we were facing a team that was mainly out of the eye back, something you probably never see in today's world. But very few kids have ever played in a system where shotgun wasn't the thing. Ours happens to be one of them, but this system of slot T or slot I, whatever they wanted to call it, was there. So I had some experience running this, so I would say, sure, I'll play your scout team quarterback. Boom. Had a really good fake out here. I'm about to go score, and boom. Yeah, completely face planted. I mean, probably one of the single most embarrassing things in my life. But at the same time, it showed the kids that I'm out there and I'm human. I'm going to be just like them. I'm going to goof around and stuff like that. Being able to go beyond what you just want, be able to stand there on the sideline as like, I'm an offensive coach and this is defensive time. Going beyond that shows your head coach, if you're a young kid, shows your head coach that you want to do more. And being able to see that, or giving, even as a head coach, giving this to a young person to do, shows that they want to have the gumption to do more. Another big thing we've done, this helps you grow in your athletic program. If you have the ability to work with your junior high programs, highly, highly, highly suggest you find a way. If you're a young guy, ask your head coach, hey coach, we're out of football, first periods now, I'm kind of a conference little area. Is there any way I can go down to junior high? So what we did here is that during the season, technical difficulty. During the season here, we just went down there and we worked drills. We run triple option flex bone. So here we are just kind of working drills, the junior high guys, talking them through a couple things, helping this would be 8th grade, I guess the B team or the A team, the junior high coaches with the other team, kind of help them out because there was a lot of kids in this class. So very big thing to go beyond, go work with the younger kids. The more you work with those younger kids, the better your athletic program is going to be later on down the line. Now it's kind of going to more things, again, more examples of what individual coaches can do to help better themselves as well as better the program. Coach Kelly talked in great detail yesterday, buying into your position. This was last year, Thanksgiving week. We just made the playoffs for the first time in 30 years, and we won a playoff game, we made playoffs first time in 6 years, won a playoff game first time in 30 years. In Texas, that's a big deal. So here we are on Thanksgiving week. I take my position group out. I teach the fullbacks and the flex bone, and we go out and we just have Chicken Express. Earlier this year, I did a breakfast with my position group, and I got a parent email back saying, hey, thank you so much. It's so glad to see we have people going invested. And that only makes you feel good altruistically. It spreads that word of what you're doing to go beyond just your coaching duties. Other things you can do, the middle one here, the Esports Day in Arlington Coaches Summit, THSCA hosts a leadership conference every year or so. This year's the first time they brought it to Arlington. I really liked an author that showed up, John Gordon, so I wanted to go bad just to talk to him for a little bit, but I learned so much more from coaches, other authors, speakers, stuff like that and that is something that you can show. If you want to ask your head coach, hey, I want to go to this clinic, what do I have to do to go? If you have a school district who, like mine, who thankfully pays for stuff like this, get a free entry fee. If not, you may have to dig into your own pockets, but at the same point in time, you're investing in yourself, and that's always a great investment. The top right picture here is defense staff. They're meeting and all that stuff. Normal thing, except for the fact that this picture was taken on June 21st. This is a summertime picture. These guys were all in town. And they said, hey, let's get together and let's talk X's and O's. So investing and being there. Now, these are varsity guys. I recommend that especially if you're a young guy with, no wife, no kids, stuff like that, be there every single day during the summer. Because you never know who's up there. You never know what they're talking, what you can learn. And it helps you invest and shows your head coach that you want to work. One of my claims to fame is that I got hired in the spring of 2015. I was at my previous school still, but I got hired then. Well, every Friday in May, I had local days to use up. I took off days of school, took days off from school at one school and went to go work at Midlothian High School, despite the fact that I wasn't even hired yet. And that's something that some of my coaches had did at other places. So I want to do that too. And my head coach at the time had never, ever heard of guys coming up and working for them when they aren't really hired. So it showed that I was all in. He tells me to this day, coach, you're the only person I think so far that has been all in from day one. A lot of people have gotten all in and stuff like that, but from day one, you were here. And I recommend that for young coaches, especially if you want to be, you want to climb that ladder, be invested day one. Head coaches, try to get those kids that are coming up being coaches, because some of those 21, 22-year-olds are still kids. Get them to be invested day one by doing stuff. Middle picture, the toy drive. A lot of different things here. This one's particularly because I started a club. If you have, again, finding a need and filling it, I found that our high school needed a club for religious talk. I mean, FCA was kind of a thing in the past, so I tried to bring it back and do a couple of things. Me and FCA couldn't kind of find a common path to get to, so I made my own club. It was called Faith-Filled Friends. I made sure that the kids ran it, stuff like that. We ran toy drives, and every time that we did something on campus, my face was there. So it shows more often what you can do as far as that. The bottom right picture, one big, huge advice I can give to all young coaches. No matter what happens, always take a neutral mindset. This is a picture from Charlie Wilson's War, great movie. Basically, at the end of the movie, it's talking about how they did a great job with the Soviets in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And the character on the right is basically saying, yeah, we'll see. Tom Hanks, building up. We'll see. High school or new coaches, bad, good, ugly, whatever. We'll see approach. Just neutral at it. Get excited when you're supposed to. Come back down and say, hey, we need to figure out what's next. Finding a need and filling it. When I first got there, first couple of years, 0 filmers, 0 managers. It was really, really tough on our coaches to get anything done. So it was one of those deals to where, okay, I have a little bit of technology experience. I helped create what we call now the football media program. And while I'm not necessarily part of it anymore because I'm able to do other things, we were able to get managers to help us out, filmers for practice, which was a huge thing. And we'll talk more about that here in a second. Photographers for Thursdays and Friday nights. You cannot imagine how hard it is to get good photography if you don't have somebody that's directly in line with you. Max Preps has done a good job. They have one there, but there's not everybody there. Offered high school kids. I have these 3 girls. They saved my life more often than not when it comes to these pictures. I offer them food every Thursday or Friday they worked. I offered them a chance to get a letter jacket when the season finished and they were good at academic standing. Flexible scheduling. The more you have, the less they have to work, stuff like that. So that was just one thing that I did to help increase my athletic program. And a lot of coaches beyond football have asked, hey, what do I need to do? Who do I need to find? Stuff like that. This is one of those big investments. If you do not have a drone, I highly, highly suggest you get one for a couple of reasons. One is something like this. This is us running out of a tunnel. It's a great shot, great to sell yourself as, great to sell your program after. We'll have some more examples of that later. We can talk later. Big thing, if you're an X's and O's guy, look at this. This is our spring game. We're watching this, and it is fantastic how much you can look at film and see all the different things. So while I kind of was on the drone trying to try to sell my head coach on it, I didn't do a good enough job. We got another head coach. He was a big techie too. He sold him on it, and now we hate to watch anything in film besides drone. We kind of game film like that. Back with the media stuff, this is kind of a clip from a highlight video we've done. We now have sideline angles that we can use for hype, we can use for teaching tools on Friday nights, gives us a different angle. Being able to go find people to do that is a really, really great thing. And then kind of just on film, now that we have extra filmers, I can film JV games on Friday nights. I have this film. I uploaded it to Instagram. As you see in the top bottom right-hand corner, this guy shared it with or reposted on his own Instagram. And this is a JV night. This can help your program so much because you get it out there and you're able to put it out there, especially if you know what you're doing in technology. You can increase your athletic program tenfold just by social media alone. We'll get to more of that later. Character, big matters. Top left-hand corner, we're watching Coach Mackey. He's on Twitter. You want to go look at him. He's also on YouTube. Great stuff to have. We invest in it. This is a big weight room that we'll talk about here in a minute, but we love watching character and investing in the kids. We first started here in 2015. The summer program had 20, 25 kids. And this was a high school that had nearly 2,000 kids in it. Now we have less kids because we split high schools, and we're having more boys come out for athletic in the summer. You invest in their character, you invest in the kids. They will do what they can to come out for you. These guys, these seniors here have been with us for 5 years now. They brought their kids up. They said, hey, let's go. This is our time. So there's been a great job raising culture there, raising character there. 2 books to read. Randy Jackson, again, guy that I like to say is a mentor to me, at least through books. Definitely need to check those 2 books out. Won't go into great detail. I'll let you all do the research on that. The bottom one is a character and workout point system that we worked out this past year, me and my head coach. He had a great idea. I just kind of helped him tweak it a little bit. Call it 5-Star Panthers. If you want to do a meet with me or email me later, I'll talk in more detail about it. But it gives the kids something to build towards, something to do, because they want to be able to wear this shirt that says, hey, I'm better. Hey, I'm all in. Where are you at? So great ideas to do there, again, as an individual coach to go with your head coach to, or as a head coach to give to somebody. So be sure to do that. Again, kind of with character and stuff like that, kind of some funny stuff here. Like I said, I'll try to mute this one may have a little bit. I'll try to do a little bit talk here. This is our retreat. We do a varsity retreat every fall. This is just one of those silly activities that you start seeing kids getting bought in because you invested in them. You invest in your kids, whether you're young or old, doesn't matter. Invest in them. They'll have these goofy times. They'll become a better team for it. And of course, making fun of me. This is my position group. If you ever see me walk around, I walk like Vince McMahon off WWE. I have that big old stride. I walk with a purpose. I'm getting things done, so they do that. And they ask me stupid questions all the time so they can just get that reaction. So being a young coach, got to invest in the kids. If you're an older coach, of course, invest in the kids. And have your young coaches invest in these kids. Once they do that, they'll start getting better. And that's one thing that we want to do. We want to make these younger coaches better. Real quick, going beyond the school, teach like a coach. If you love coaching football, you got to love teaching if you're a teacher. Because if you don't, 7 of those 8 hours are brutal. I only teach 4 classes. I teach for 4 hours. Some people teach 5, some people teach 6. It is brutal if you don't like what you teach. Go out and teach it all out, be ready to go. Volunteer for extra stuff. You're going to hear me say that a lot. One of the first things I did in my first year at Midlothian, it was kind of crazy, and even I admit I probably won't do it anymore. They were putting in benchmarks for us, essentially. So they called a meeting for these curriculums, say, hey, we want y'all to come over, and we want to talk about these things. Well, I was the only coach that signed up. And my head department just goes, we normally don't see coaches around here with this. And that left an impression on her, saying that I care about my job and I care about students enough that they start to see, hey, He's not a bad person. He's a good coach. He may be a good teacher. Let's see what he can do. And they've allowed me to do some of my own things as I go across. So if you have to teach while coaching, great stuff there. Or if you're a guy who works at the school, or if you're not working at the school, go do these extra things that get your face out there, be able to show off for your program. Everyone likes to feel appreciated. We have run numerous appreciations for different ones. I'll talk about those in a second. And, of course, KYP, know that personnel. Sometimes those guys in the schoolhouse have a bigger fan base than you. Later today, you're going to have a couple coaches talk about struggling programs, how to build them up. Well, one of the main keys I like to see, if you're in a struggling program, go find a program that doesn't struggle. Let's see what kind of a fan base they have. Let's see if we can get them on our side. Teaching as much as you have. This is just me videotaping my kids. We went through a lab. We did a very itty-bitty small – I had an itty-bitty small room at the time. So we moved all the desks. We were able to do these little timing carts. Show that off. Show that you're bought in. Show that you can be able to do that. Have your coaches show stuff in class because you are just more than a coach sometimes. Go ahead and start at the top here. At the very top, you see that we have our Teachers of the Week. We do these every Friday during the season. We give out a JV jersey. The teachers love it. Love it, love it, love it. We work with the athletic department before every home game. The either one or two or three teachers that we claimed as Teacher of the Week for the past couple of weeks, they come out in front of the entire stands. They get a little certificate from the athletic department saying, congratulations on being Teacher of the Week. They love every single minute. They love just getting a jersey if they don't wear it. They absolutely just – it makes them feel good to know that they know that we're looking at them. We know that. It's also a really good way. Say your top quarterback's really struggling in Mrs. So-and-so class. Make her Teacher of the Week. Let's see if that grade can go up just a little bit higher. At the bottom here, bottom left, we played one game of JV. We had a late schedule cancellation or whatever, so we played a little early. Well, my fault. I didn't report that to our dance team, who has their JV perform on our JV night. So after we won the game, we sat in and we watched them. Normally they sit and watch us. They performed at our halftime. We sat and watched them, and we got so many good letters from the department, so many good letters from the school saying that it was really cool that we did that. Bottom right-hand corner, our band made UIL State for the first time in school history. So the day they left for state down in San Antonio, we delivered goodie bags to them. And I had a couple band nerds that know me from class that, Coach, what's going on? This never happens. Like, these guys don't talk to us. And it was really cool to them how the football team, the guy that they're always there on Friday night, they kind of seem like they're somewhat overshadowed by on Fridays, really knew who they were. And it was really, really cool to see that in the band kids' faces. And it was a very big thing. Even some parents were very appreciative of it. Speaking of a band parent thing. Oops. A little video because I couldn't get it in picture form. During homecoming takes precedence over band performances. So our band performed after the game because our homecoming stuff was at halftime. This is just an Instagram post that we put out there. All the good, positive comments that we had from not only band kids, band parents, so how much class we had, stuff like that. A lot of that goes a long way. So young coaches, as you grow older, keep some of these in mind. Older guys, see if you can get some of these younger coaches to take some control, take some ownership into programs like these, see what they can do. And then finally, kind of the big one for young coaches to they don't have kind of wrapped their heads around a little bit yet. Some of your older coaches, some of your more HCs kind of know what's going on beyond in the community. These are your most important stakeholders because ultimately they are up there at school board meetings, they vote, and they know very well what they want. So it's up to you to say, hey, I got to sell this program. I got to sell myself. Let's talk about this. But they're also the hardest to reach because they're not just an email away. They're not just, or it's always an email. They're not just right down this hallway to talk to. Past couple years has died down, but ultimately there has been a war on football. I can't tell you my first year, about 2015, 2016, how we had to drag kids out to go play football because mom and dad were particularly worried about the concussion word being thrown around and how we were going to protect their kids and stuff like that. Being able to show the community that we are going to be safe. We're going to be able to teach their kids how not to get hurt and things like that, and how we can prevent our injuries are really, really good tools to use. Again, volunteer work, be seen at town events. I cannot stress this enough. You wear your football gear, whether you are working or not, they see you. You are a reflection of the program. You tell your kids all the time, kids, you're a reflection of our football team. Well, you are a reflection of your coaching, your team, and your athletic department. So if you're seeing and working volunteer events, they guys know, they see you. They say, hey, you know, this coach is working hard. He's doing this for free. So he must be doing something right for our kids. So being able to do that allows us to have more sphere of influence. Some of you small town coaches know they take attendance at church. So be willing to go to church, be willing to do all that. If you are big in faith, I'm kind of back and forth on it, depending on it, but I also know, hey, I have faith, and sometimes, you know, I like going to church. Some churches I don't necessarily agree with, but at the same point in time, I know it's very, very important in a lot of cases, particularly in small towns, that you have to be there at church on Sunday. So kind of those fair warnings if you're going to go into small school. And again, appreciate everyone, appreciate community, appreciate different parts of your departments in school and stuff like that. We'll talk more about that, and go, of course, know your personnel, know how to appreciation, know what they want. Another one of those make fun moments. Top left-hand corner, I am probably 23 at that point, and our athletic department brought in the Harlem Ambassadors. Like, there's Harlem Globetrotters, a couple steps down, the Harlem Ambassadors, for free kind of entertainment for little kids and stuff. Well, they need volunteer referees and players. So guess who got voluntold to be the referee? Yours truly. So, of course, the ambassadors go out there. They make me do a little dance thing. You know, I could have gone out there and said, nah, no big deal. No, I went out there and I said, you know what? If I'm going to be out here, I'm going to just go all in on it. So I started pulling every move from hitch that I could find, just that I could remember, just kind of right there. I'm doing a little Q-tip, about to throw it away. Doing stuff like that shows your community that you care about more than just your job, and a lot of that is true. Top right-hand corner, this is our team captain, our 4-star athlete. Elementary readings. Elementary readings are so huge on so many levels. The little kids love it, and they see everybody in their jerseys. They want to become football players, and they get older, or they want to become the cheerleaders or drill team. Huge for little kids. Huge for the big kids. They get to go read to them. They get to feel like a hero, feel like it's important that they're a football player. Big on for coaches too. This stuff right here is great community outreach. Being able to have their kids go home to their parents and say, hey, I want to go to a football game. I want to see number 44. He's my friend. He came and read to us tonight. More people could attend. More people see what you're doing. Great stuff will happen. Bottom row type of stuff. We have to have a parent meeting every year. So this kind of just a picture of us and our objectives, talking to our parents. Have a parent meeting, talk to them. Being able to do stuff like that allows you to short at least your shorter community, and then they go out and talk to their friends. Hey, this coach knows what he's doing. Let's go. You know, if your kid wants to go out and play football, has an inkling, go play for him. I guarantee you, he will take care of it. Bottom right-hand corner, one of the events we do at the beginning of every year, we call it the father-son breakfast. But in reality, it's just father male mentor breakfast. We have a bunch of dads at Booster Club volunteer their time to come out. If we have a kid that doesn't have a father, uncle, grandfather, they have a mentor for, and they, hey, go have breakfast. And those fathers and mentors, a part of our Booster Club, do different things throughout the year. So we as coaches attended this. This is our athletic director speaking on this event. He talked about how it was a great idea, that he loved having this stuff for everybody. There are a lot more different ideas. You can just shoot me an email if you want some more of them. I know I'm running a little on time, so I just kind of want to give you a couple ideas, my examples here. Camps. Camps are a huge ordeal for a couple of different things. First off, little ones, if you'll have children, they need to get worn out, especially on a weekday night during the summer. This is our little kid camp. This by Thursday this probably actually Wednesday, the night we didn't give out T-shirts, and that we didn't have a lot of people there. But great idea. Gets the parents to watch what you're doing. If you see our little tackling donuts in the back, guess who he had on tackling donuts that night, even though he only coaches offense? Me, because I knew how to say the right things about tackling, about how we're doing the rugby style tackling, head on the backside, stuff like that. It's also great community service outreach there. And ultimately, the young kids, if you're here for an intermittent amount of time, they know they're having fun. Here, all we did was go get a tarp, some dish soap, and a water hose. And these kids probably had the most fun they've ever had in a while, because they just got out there and they just did a slip and slide. And it was that football camp. Now everything has to be about football. You can do more stuff. Bottom line here, the bottom row here, is our older kids camp. This is the camp we run on during contract time. So our coaches, this is just other duties as assigned. Here's our ninth grade. Our coaches, our offensive line coaches, working with the kids. And then once again, some more drone footage, roll the beautiful beam footage. D-line drills. We're able to work with our 7th, 8th, and ninth graders the week before we start practices with our freshman kids. So this is just another one of those things. Another pretty good source of income. I know we charge $75 a camper, which is probably a little on the cheaper side for our area, but scholarships always needed for kids who always need it. A little bit of money maker in there for that. Your little kids camp, we host that at the beginning of the year. I know that I kind of took charge of it. Coach Wendell, my head coach, took the other parts of it that I didn't really necessarily know, like money, and he was able to help pay some assistant coaches. So, and then kind of one of the big things about camps, young guys, especially with little kids camp, you may realize you love football and you know football. You don't know how bad of a coach you are until you try to coach third graders. I mean, or even worse, like we had incoming first graders, I think was our youngest, so 6-year-olds. You never realize how much you have to put into basicness of 6-year-olds who have never, ever held a football. Junior high, kind of same thing. If you work the junior high camps, you're starting off coaching. You never realize how much you really don't know until you try to coach a 7th grader who has never touched a football in his life, how to play football. So I recommend working camps. If you don't have camps, try to find a camp system. Go volunteer at some camps. I know one of our coaches worked with the Des Bryant camp when he was kind of still in things. So if you have a camp near you, go volunteer. Hey, I just want to just tell them, hey, I just want to come work, come coach, to be able to do some things. It helps you hone your craft, helps you get outreach to the community, helps you with the kids in the future. This is my big thing. Big technology. I'm the communications guy at Midlothian High School. We have all different types of social media. As your top left-hand corner here, we have our pregame prayer. I'm showing it off on Snapchat, so we're able to get it out that way. Top right-hand corner, we did such a good job this summer on Twitter that the Greater DFW newspaper hosted the best logo challenge by votes, stuff like that. And if you ever go research Midlothian High School's logo, not very imaginative, just an M with a panther on it. But we got the community so far behind us, and we push this, and we make fun all the time that Midlothian has a bunch of people at home who never go to work. So they were able to vote every single day, every single hour. We ended up winning this high school logo challenge by a long shot, other than one round with another very well-off team. Bottom left-hand corner, Instagram and Facebook videos. I had to mute this video for the music because I'll probably get a copyright struck from it, so I wanted to make sure that. Whoops. But this is a picture of our this is a video of our brand new state-of-the-art weight room we just put in this past spring. And it is phenomenal. And putting this out for your community to see, for your voters who just voted that bond, build this brand new weight room, build this brand new field house, to do great outreach to show your community, show that what they voted for was going to a right thing for the kids. So huge weight room. If you have any questions about stuff like that, let me know. Bottom right-hand corner, head coach is mainly talking to you, but young coach may want to bring it up. Bottom right-hand corner is our weekly newsletter. We use a service called smore.com. Sends out any type of information we want to send. It's a lot of groundwork. You got to collect emails of kids. You got to collect emails of parents, collect emails of board members, stuff like that. But letting them know via email what you're doing as a program, as well as what you're doing as your community outreach program is athletically, beyond athletics. I have a section every day about what we're doing beyond just athletics or in the classroom. This is where you put your teachers of the week for everybody to know, stuff like that. Kind of my own little dabble into some Photoshop and some big things here, putting stuff on social media to help outreach for things. Top left-hand corner, just a simple JV AB schedule to come out there to show that, hey, we care about those guys too. Every week in top right-hand corner, I put out these, hey, here's our game schedules for the day. This is our Thursday on Halloween. Some of you old WCW fans probably understand what's happening here. Some of you younger guys probably don't know what Halloween Havoc is, but that's kind of a thing. And people share that all the time. They say, hey, here's the game times. Here's where we're at. Let's go. Every scrimmage in Texas, usually for football, has what we call the Our Day to Shine raising fund. Basically, it raises money for the benevolence fund for high school coaches. So every year I put a notice out. They have this information they want you to put out. So I go ahead and do that. We've scrimmaged the same team 4 years in a row. So I was able to call it the 4th annual Panther Ranger scrimmage. Next year we have to go to another team because coaches change, stuff like that. So we're able to You, again, show your outreach, show that you're raising money for a good cause. And then just bottom right-hand corner, just, again, another dabble of, this is our new district. Here's what we're doing. Let the community know, hey, these are the guys we're playing. Here's our schedule, stuff like that. Just kind of be showing off at that point. Finally, my labor of love, and I don't mean that in the best way possible. Head coaches, this one's going to be directed to you. Young coaches, go take this to your head coaches. This by far is our biggest community outreach example we have. Meet the Panthers. We get a hold of every head coach, every fine art, every band cheer, whatever, and we pack the gym one weekday night before school start, or like the first week of school. Or sometimes, I think one year we had it before school starts. This is a great way of getting your kids out there and showing to the public and showing what your program is doing. Again, I could never imagine doing this the first or second year that we've done this. Last year, I was kind of pseudo put in charge of it. Like, all of a sudden, I found myself in charge of it when something happened. This year, I was fully in charge of it. Everybody buys in on it. They love it. They love seeing their kids. They love seeing the little kids up in the corner and stuff like that. This year, I think I'm going to grow it just a little bit more. We opened our brand new field house and weight room, so I want to be able to put that on there, that as a meeting time for there, as well as maybe set up an autograph station. I remember when I was in school, elementary school, our high school put on a little athlete signature deal. They had just plain black and white pictures of the kids. They signed it. I thought it was the greatest thing. I thought it was the absolute greatest thing. So that's it for going beyond in different aspects of it. There's my contact information. Please feel free to contact me on Twitter. There's my professional Instagram. I kind of barely get on there, but it's enough to put pictures on there. My email is right there. If you want a phone number, if you're better with phone, just let me know and we'll kind of get things going. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. We got a couple questions here, and one thing I think coaches would like to hear a little bit more about is that 5-star program. Can you talk about how that works a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll get if you want definitely in-depth detail, I will gladly get into that for you if you want via email and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to show. Basically, we had a vacuum of leadership. Our senior class that just left us this past fall was all bought in. Let's get everybody here together. They call people up. Well, now you have that when you have so many leaders leave, we have to hold the kids accountable on ourselves. So we create a program that rewards kids for being there. We have morning powerlifting workouts. So based on their attendance, they get a certain score. We have what we call winning time, which is track or additional weight room time that we want the kids to voluntarily come to. So there's a scale there. Grades, reward kids for good grades. UIL in Texas, no pass, no play. So if you ain't passing, you ain't playing. So this is an off-season stuff. We want you to get enough credits to where you can play next year and be able to invest in yourself for grades, not only for our program, but for your future as well. Drop into your characters, zeros, tardies, referrals. Same scale on that. You have infractions there. Second sport, we really, really push second sports here in Midlothian. We want people to compete in powerlifting, track, baseball, basketball, anything. We want you to sign up for it. In fact, if you sign up for it, we understand that sometimes it's depending on the timing you aren't able to compete. Only so many people can go to track meet or powerlifting meet. So with that, and then of course, put a 0 there for none. Service hours, every Midlothian High School, Midlothian ISD, is that every high schooler has to have 10 hours community service in order to graduate. So we took that upon ourselves to not only do it for the betterment of us as a program, but better for the kids, because they can't have community service, they can't graduate. So here we started this program to help raise their community service hours on top of that. Another category that's not really on here because it's kind of one of our ace in the hole is that if a kid raises their max in their weight room, like bench, squat, whatever, by X amount, we will take their lowest score on here and replace it with automatic 100, automatic 5-star. Anybody with an average of 4.5 or higher gets a black shirt. They get to wear it every day to athletics. They get to show that they're the leader of the group. They show us coaches that they're leaders. And we have a different phase, like boot camp phase. We just got out of before spring break. They become our leaders for that boot camp phase.
Gotcha. So how this is just for me. How do you put out there what a kid is? Do you have a board there that, hey, Jimmy's a 5-star kid, or
we're working on that. I mean, the only thing we were able to do, because it was such a short time frame that we started doing this. So basically it was from January to March, and we're going to continue on through here, unfortunately, before the closures throughout the country. So what we did was we just printed it out. We showed the little spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet that calculates everything for me. So all I have to do is type in what they did, and it does it all for me. And we use that. Now, we're probably going to get a board in the future that talks about these off-season things and all that stuff. But right now, because we're not in school and for at least another 2 weeks, it's been kind of hit or miss.
Yep, gotcha. So how do you determine the teacher of the week? Do the kids decide it? Do coaches? How is that determined?
Normally with the kids, unfortunately, I went to my example guy here, DeMarco Cobbs. Love the man to death. He used to play at UT. Pretty dang good coach. A lot of times forgot to ask the kids. So it's one of those times where you ask your seniors, your juniors, your sophomores on the varsity team, hey, who do you want to be teacher of the week? You look at that. And again, kind of as I kind of dropped a hint at, sometimes coaches can pick. Like if you know this one teacher has 10 of your football kids and a couple are struggling, hey, let's show this teacher a little appreciation and say, hey, let's show that we are investing in her. We know what she's doing. We hope that we know she's a good teacher. Let's hope that she can help our kids as well.
Gotcha. And then lastly, how many camps do you guys try and host a year?
UIL rules have actually changed in the past couple of years. UILs are a government body. And I think we can actually end up having 2 camps, 2 little kid camps and 1 older kid camp or vice versa or something like that. Normally based before this year, we have had 1 little kid camp at the beginning of summer. And that's when, coaches volunteer to work. They kind of get some money for their time, but nobody has to work that. And then our older kid camp, our middle school 7th, 8th, and 9th grade camps, we work for 4 days. That is say we start practice August 3rd this year because we're not going to spring football. We will have the camp the week prior, that Monday prior. So basically the 9th graders get an extra week of practice with their coaches.
Gotcha. I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks for hopping